Hello, and a welcome to part 2 of an introduction to my garden. In this video, we'll be looking at all the other parts of my garden that doesn't include the vegetable patch, like the silver birch, the apple tree, the rose bush, the flowers, and the field of earth that makes up the rest of the garden. So, let's get into it. This is my silver birch tree, which it's growing amazingly well. It's only like a year or 2 years old, and when I first got it, it was tiny. I got it for my birthday when I was like 10 or 11, and now it's massive, as you can see. It's almost the height of me. This is like eye level. And I had it in a pot for the first like year and a half, and then it wasn't doing that well, and also we wanted to put it in the garden, and so we planted it. And since planting it, it's literally doubled in size in like 6 months. When I first put it in the ground, it literally came up to here. And now it's way up there, just like 6 months later. I guess it's because it's like in its early stages of life, and so it's just growing extra fast. And also, a few months back, I noticed there was actually a little catkin on this lower branch, so it's a very cool first. But as you can see, there are quite a lot of yellowing leaves, and that's because in autumn it will drop its leaves, and then it will just be like a bare stick for most of winter. But then back in spring it will start growing vigorously again, like it did this time, and it'll get all its nice green leaves back. And I put it in this corner here because, well, we didn't really want to put it in the middle of the garden or anywhere else, and it kind of fits in nicely there. And there's a silver birch a few gardens along from us, and so I took inspiration from them to grow my own. And I also love silver birches because the trunks, they're just solid silver and they look so pretty, as well as the leaves, which are nice sort of heart-shaped leaves, as you can see, and they're nice ridgely and just altogether lovely. And at the moment it's being held to this cane by string, but when the main trunk down here gets a bit stronger, I'll untie the string, and then it will just rely on itself to support itself and so on. And at the moment it is quite small, as I already said, but it will get massive. It will go like way up into the sky almost, like some of those huge sycamores or oaks you see. And it'll grow very quickly. It'll get to at least like the height of the house or more in like 5 or 6 years. And so that's also another reason why I love it, because it grows just so fast. And yeah, that's my silver birch. And straight ahead of me, as you can see, there's a very large tree. And you might wonder what this is, which I'm sure you do. And I'll tell you, it's an apple tree. And every year it gives us a huge crop of apples, though some years it doesn't do that well, but then it rejuvenates the next year and does very well. And at the moment it's laden with leaves, which a tree would be, but in winter it will drop them all and just be bare, and it doesn't look that nice. But then when in springtime it has these lovely pink blossoms, like so nice, you'd give anything to take a look at them. And then after that the apples come on, and then they drop. We had our main harvest about a month or so ago, and we got about 10 apples off it, and most of them were very nice. And when we moved into this house, it was already here. And here you can see the trunk, it's super thick. So this tree, it must have been here for at least 50 years or so, maybe even a century, for all I know. But yeah, and its roots, as the tree is so big, they must run all the way under the garden. So it's very cool. And even though our garden's so small, it's amazing to have this massive tree in it, and there's still so much space. And then over here, there's a lovely pink rose bush. And it's very big, it's 2 actually, but they've kind of moulded together to make 1. And in the spring, there were literally like 20 or 30 amazing of these pink roses laden on it. And it's literally, and I pruned it for the first time really at the beginning of this year, and it made it so much better than normal. Normally it just flowered, it just made like 10 or 10 flowers a year, but this time it's made like way more, as I said before. And all of the flowers, they look like this, and even now, after so many flowers, there's still lots of little flower buds waiting to come out. And yeah, you have to prune it you prune it once a year, twice a year if you're willing to, but I'm only gonna start doing it once a year. And yeah, then it just helps it to like grow more, really. And then right here, as you can see, is a bird feeder with some bird balls for the birds. And they're always feeding on it, like so much. And sometimes there's like 10 birds all waiting on the tree for their turn to come and jump on it and feed. And I literally have to top it up like once a week with like 5 balls. And I got through one of those huge tubs of bird balls. And down here I've got some flowers that I newly planted about a few months ago. So here is a nice pink geranium, and this big green plant that's kind of dying a little bit now is a dahlia. And then over here is another pink geranium that's in full bloom. And then a tiny yellow pansy there. And then this nice green bush of multicoloured colours is lobelia. And when I put it in, it was fairly small, and now it's just almost doubled or tripled every single plant in size. And it makes a really nice bedding plant, so I'd highly recommend. And this is overall what the rest of the garden looks like. Now, you may be thinking it just looks like a barren wasteland almost, with just a few weeds in the middle here, and bare earth everywhere else. And yeah, that basically is what it's like at the moment. But we've just cleared all the weeds from it, because this weekend, most likely, we are going to lay turf, basically in this entire area you see here, just up to the edges of my vegetable bed and around the tree there. And there, it will look very nice, and we basically just have to get it all flat and lay this compost here down so that there's a nice new bed of soil for the turf to lay upon. And then we'll lay it. We'll get some turf people to deliver it, and it will look very nice. It will be a perfect lawn of grass, and we won't be able to walk on it for about 1 to 2 weeks until it's properly settled down. But then after that, it will be perfect, and then we won't have to worry about weeding the garden like every week. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe down below with notifications turned on if you haven't done so already, as I will be releasing part 3 of introductions of my garden in the next few days, so keep a lookout for that. Goodbye.